Hear me carefully, because what I am about to release into your spirit right now is not comforting, it is confrontational. There is a silent force that has been feeding on your financial anxiety, disguising itself as patience, calling itself wisdom, that lack is normal and that struggle is humility. And many sincere people never realize that what feels familiar is not what is assigned. You did not arrive here by chance. You were drawn into this moment because a financial cycle that has followed you for years is reaching its breaking point, and the universe is responding to a sound it has been waiting to hear from you. This is not about working harder. This is not about chasing money. This is about alignment. And when alignment happens, provision begins to move before logic can explain it. I am speaking to you as one who has seen this principle work in the unseen long before it manifests in the visible. There are seasons when heaven is silent, and there are moments when heaven is strategic. This is a strategic moment. The pressure you have felt lately, the restlessness, the sense that something must change now, those were not emotional fluctuations, they were indicators. When the inner tension increases without a clear external reason, it means the universe is preparing to shift an outer reality. But here is the mystery many never understand. The shift does not begin in your bank account, it begins in your agreement. You have been trained to believe that money responds to effort alone. But money is not only a reward system, it is a flow system. It moves toward clarity, toward expectation, toward permission. This is why two people can work equally hard and live in completely different financial realities. One is aligned, the other is blocked internally, and blocks are rarely obvious. They sound reasonable. They say things like, maybe later, maybe not for me, maybe I should not expect too much. These thoughts feel safe, but they quietly shut doors. Right now something is being recalibrated. As you listen, you are not just receiving words, you are tuning your inner frequency. The universe responds to what you consistently agree with, not what you occasionally desire. For a long time, you have desired relief, but agreed with delay. Desired abundance, but agreed with limitation. That agreement is dissolving now. And when agreement changes, the system responds. I want you to understand this clearly. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not being punished. There was a preparation happening beneath the surface, much like roots growing in darkness before anything breaks the ground. What you called stagnation was stabilization. What you called waiting was alignment. And now the conditions are shifting. Do not look for sudden miracles yet. Look for signals. Look for subtle movement. A conversation that opens a door. An idea that will not leave you alone. A small opportunity that feels unusually light instead of heavy. This is how provision announces itself before it arrives fully. The universe rarely shouts at first. It whispers. Those who are attentive receive early. This is why faith is not denial of reality. Faith is agreement with a higher pattern, and today, that pattern is moving in your direction. Not as a flood yet, but as a current, and currents grow stronger the longer you stay aligned with them. Now before this moment passes, you must anchor it. Agreement must be sealed. If this message resonates, if something inside you recognizes that this is not coincidence, I want you to act, not out of obligation, but out of positioning. Write in the comments a simple declaration that you are open and aligned, that public agreement matters more than you realize. And if you feel led to stay connected to this flow, subscribe to this channel, because alignment is not a single moment, it is a maintained posture. And if this message has touched your heart, and you believe in supporting what is awakening others, you may also choose to give a spontaneous offering through the Super Thanks feature, any amount, as an act of agreement, not pressure. Giving is not payment, it is participation. Remain still for a moment. Let this settle. Something has already begun. Do not rush past this moment. There is a reason your attention is fully here right now. When the inner noise quiets and focus sharpens without effort, it means a doorway has opened. The universe does not open doors randomly. It responds to readiness, and readiness is not about perfection. It is about availability. For a long time your spirit has been signaling that it is ready for a different relationship with provision, not one driven by fear, but by flow. You were taught to survive. You were rarely taught to receive. Survival keeps you alert, but it also keeps you small. Receiving requires trust, and trust is dangerous to the part of you that learned to expect disappointment. That is why this transition feels uncomfortable. You are stepping out of a pattern that once protected you, but now restricts you. The old pattern said, hold back, do not expect too much, stay realistic, but realism without revelation becomes a cage. The universe responds to clarity, not desperation. Many people pray from panic and wonder why nothing moves. Panic sends mixed signals. It says, I want abundance, but I do not believe it is safe to have it. That contradiction creates delay. What is forming in you now is different. It is calm, it is grounded, it is quiet certainty, and that signal is powerful. There is an unseen mechanism that activates when expectation and peace exist together. Expectation alone creates tension. Peace alone creates stagnation. But when they coexist, movement begins. That is what is happening now. Your nervous system is settling, and your expectation is rising. This combination tells the universe that you are ready to steward what is coming. Watch carefully how resistance tries to interrupt this moment. It will appear as logic. It will say things like, this sounds good, but nothing ever changes, or you have felt this before. Do not fight those thoughts. Simply do not agree with them. Agreement is the currency here. Whatever you agree with gains permission to stay. There is a reason money responds to inner posture before outer action. Money is not just material. It carries energy, timing, relationships, and opportunity. When your inner posture shifts, the pathways rearrange. Someone thinks of you at the right moment. An idea surfaces with unusual clarity. A delay that protected you quietly dissolves. These are not coincidences, they are responses. You may notice over the coming days that your reactions change before your circumstances do. Bills feel less threatening. Conversations about money feel lighter. You stop bracing for bad news. This is not denial. This is recalibration. When fear loosens its grip, creativity enters. And creativity is the language the universe uses to deliver provision. I want you to release the image of sudden rescue and replace it with the image of steady opening. The dramatic breakthrough often comes later. First comes alignment. First comes access. First comes the quiet repositioning that makes the breakthrough sustainable. What is forming now is not fragile. It is structured. You have been protected from premature abundance. If what you asked for had arrived earlier, it would have magnified stress instead of freedom. Timing is mercy disguised as delay. Now the internal structure is catching up with the desire. That is why this feels different. You are not just wanting change, you are becoming capable of holding it. Stay present. Let this work deeper than emotion. Something is stabilizing inside you, and stability attracts resources. The universe invests where there is containment, and containment is forming now. Something is being exposed right now that has quietly governed your financial reality for years. It is not luck itself, but the agreement you made with it without realizing it. At some point you stopped expecting things to work out smoothly. You learned to brace, you learned to brace, you learned to calculate disappointment in advance. That posture may have kept you from being hurt, but it also kept you from receiving. The universe does not respond to what you want in theory, it responds to what you are prepared to normalize. Many people say they want abundance, but internally they are loyal to struggle because it feels familiar. Familiarity is powerful, it creates identity, and identity shapes permission. When abundance tries to approach someone who still identifies as a struggler, the system hesitates. not as punishment, but as protection. What is happening now is a quiet identity shift. You are no longer negotiating with survival. You are stepping into stewardship. Notice how your breathing has changed. Notice how the tension in your body is slowly releasing. This matters more than you think. A regulated inner state signals readiness. Chaos repels clarity. Calm attracts precision. Precision attracts opportunity. This is how provision travels before it ever becomes money. There is a misconception that wealth arrives loudly. In truth, it arrives intelligently. It studies timing. It looks for stability. It follows paths of least resistance. When your inner world becomes less reactive, doors open without force. This is why desperation delays and composure accelerates. You are entering a phase where you will begin to notice patterns breaking. Not dramatically at first. Subtly, a bill resolves easier than expected. A conversation goes in your favor. A delay reveals it was shielding you from loss. These are not small things. They are indicators. They are the universe testing flow. Do not dismiss the small signs. Small signs are confirmations, not conclusions. When you acknowledge them without fear, the system responds with more. Gratitude is not politeness. It is reinforcement. It tells the universe this pathway works. Continue. There is also something being dismantled right now. The belief that money must come with exhaustion, sacrifice or pain. That belief has been deeply ingrained, often spiritualized, praised even. But ease is not laziness. Flow is not irresponsibility. You were not designed to live in constant strain. Strain clouds judgment. Clarity multiplies resources. You may feel a strange mix of anticipation and calm. That is alignment. Anxiety always demands proof. Alignment trusts process. The moment you stop demanding immediate evidence, movement accelerates. This is counterintuitive, but it is precise. Be attentive to impulses that feel clean, not rushed. The idea that returns gently. The action that feels light instead of forced. These are instructions. Wealth often comes disguised as intuition before it arrives as currency. Something has shifted in how you relate to time. You are no longer waiting from emptiness. You are allowing from readiness. That difference is everything. The universe does not reward impatience. It responds to coherence. Let this sink deeper. You are not chasing abundance anymore. You are becoming compatible with it. And compatibility is what allows arrival without collapse. Remain open. Remain steady. What is unfolding does not need to be forced. It needs to be allowed. There is a moment when the invisible becomes undeniable. It happens quietly, without announcement, yet everything after it is different. You are in that moment now. The reason this feels intense is because your inner world is reorganizing faster than your outer world can keep up. And when that happens, reality follows. The universe always strives alignment. It never leads it. For years you were managing scarcity, instead of questioning it. You adapted to pressure so well that you mistook endurance for destiny. But endurance is not the goal. It is only a phase. And phases end when awareness arrives. Awareness has arrived. Something ancient has been reactivated inside you. A memory older than fear. A knowing that provision is not an exception, but a design. You were never meant to beg life for relief. You were meant to cooperate with it. The reason money has felt distant is not because it was avoiding you, but because you were taught to approach it from separation instead of authority. Authority does not shout, it settles. And when authority settles into a person, the environment responds. That is why things are already rearranging behind the scenes. Conversations you are not part of yet are being influenced. Decisions are being delayed or accelerated in your favor. Resources are being redirected. The system is listening. You may feel an urge to check something, a message, an account, an opportunity you once dismissed. Pay attention. Intuition sharpens when alignment locks in. What used to feel confusing now feels obvious. What used to feel heavy now feels unnecessary. This is discernment returning. The universe does not test you with luck forever. There comes a point when the lesson shifts from endurance to expansion. Expansion requires a different posture. It requires permission. Permission is being granted now, not externally, but internally. And internal permission is the only kind that matters. Notice how the story you tell yourself is changing.
You are no longer saying someday things will improve. You are starting to feel that something is already moving. That feeling is not imagination. It is perception catching up with reality. Money is not arriving yet in its final form because it is still organizing its entrance. It is aligning with sustainability. Sudden wealth without inner structure collapses quickly. What is forming now is capacity. Capacity to receive without panic. Capacity to hold without guilt. Capacity to grow without fear. You are being trusted with more. Trust is built quietly. The universe increases responsibility before it increases volume. That is why you feel more grounded instead of euphoric. Grounded people multiply resources. Euphoric people consume them. Do not underestimate what is happening. Simply because it is calm. Calm is a sign of depth. Surface changes are loud. Structural changes are silent. And this is structural. Stay with this awareness. Let it anchor. You are no longer negotiating with luck. You are observing it dissolve. And once you see it clearly, it cannot rule you again. Something irreversible has begun.